Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Corporate Gamer podcast. I'm your host, Corporate Gamer. This is episode 5, recorded March 29th, 2017. Our open world game still good. I apologize if I sound a little bit stuffed. I've been battling the flu for the last little while. I've been feeling better for the last couple of days, but last week I had I was a pretty good candidate for the Neo-Citrin commercials or the NyQuil commercials. I pretty much had all those symptoms, from fever to headaches to the chills, you name it, I had it. Feeling better, but it was a pretty long weekend, considering that I was lying down most of the weekend. But it did give me an opportunity to start watching Iron Fist. I haven't watched much into it. I've watched only the first few episodes. I have to admit, without saying anything or much about it, I'm not really into Iron Fist so far. It's not grabbing me the same way as maybe Luke Cage did, or similar type of Marvel. Jessica Jones was good too. Daredevil, I found it a little too slow, especially season 1, but it was really good with the how it ended. So I'm gonna give Iron Fist a chance, but it seems that it's pretty slow. I don't know, the acting seems to be a little bit off. I know a lot of people have been saying that, but at least from the first few episodes, it doesn't seem there's a chemistry between the characters. Iron Fist himself is okay, but maybe not as charismatic as maybe Luke Cage was, where Luke Cage had that, when he was on screen, he had a screen presence, and the rest of the cast kind of followed suit, but it was Luke Cage. This time, I'm not sold, but it seemed a lot of people seem to be saying that it's a little bit boring, or it's not as good as it could be. I'm not going to judge till I finish watching it, but I will admit that it's taking me a little bit of time to get back into it, in a sense that I don't really feel like watching it. I'm watching it just because I want to see how it's going to end, and to review it probably eventually on a round table. But right now I don't feel like I need to watch it. I don't need to binge watch it. I watched a few episodes and I wasn't really into it. Yes, it's true I had the flu, so maybe I wasn't all in it. But that's pretty much the big thing that I kind of did during the week. That's new. In terms of games, what I've been playing for the last week, not much actually. I guess I must have felt like I was a kid when I was 12. I've been pretty much been playing retro games. I've been playing Double Dragon on NES and Mega Man. Not the NES version. I played on the Xbox One. There's a Mega Man collection, and I played that version. Games that still hold up to this day. I still love playing Double Dragon and Mega Man. Soundtracks are amazing. It's just one of those games, and Mega Man is pretty tough. Double Dragon, not too bad. But I just like playing it. I don't care where I get. I'll go as far as I can, and then I'll just drop it. So I play like for half an hour, I'm good to go. But still classics. And 2017, I'm still playing these games. So I guess they did something right with those games. In terms of games on mobile, I know I don't do this all the time, but I got 2 games that I've been playing. Toon Blast, which is a typical 3-star rating system puzzle game, which has been standard across the board for a very long time. There's a gazillion of these types of games. It's not really anything special. There's a free version. There's also a bot version without the ads. Not particularly great. I just play it until I can't play it anymore, or I would need to buy some extra things, and I'm not really. No, I don't really want to pay for this game or buy microtransactions in these types of games. So I just play till I can't, and then I just download another one that's similar. There's 10,000 games that are like that are free to play, but they're not that great. However, I did discover this week a brand new game on the iPhone called Balls, which is amazing. Ballz. It's on the Android phones. And it's also on iOS. It's one of those games where it's similar to those games where I don't know if anybody would remember this, but the PopCap games that were available in the early 2000s, late 90s, where you would have a bubble of, like, let's say different colors, and then you would try and match it with the same color, and then it would pop a bunch of bubbles until you cleared the board. Similar idea here, but what happens is you start off with one ball, and then you have an accumulation of balls that you can have during the time, and then you have blocks that you have to go after, and the blocks have numbers on them, and those indicate how many times you have to hit it in order for it to disappear from the screen. So it starts off with one, and then it grows to any number of it. It's actually pretty addictive. It's free to play. If you want to remove the abs, the abs, yes, because it's training. If you want to remove the ads, you can buy it for $1.99, and there's microtransactions to actually purchase some other things inside, but it's not needed. What I really love about this game is, unlike Toon Blast, which has a limited amount of lives, and then you can you then have to wait a certain amount of time before you can actually play again. Balls doesn't have that. You can just play as long as you want. There's going to be an ad here and there, but it's not intrusive, and you don't have to wait an amount of time before the ad finishes. You just press the X and you're good to go. I really like it. It was free. It was actually in the top 20 of the iPhone free iPhone apps games, and I decided to download it, and I haven't regretted it. I've been playing it for about a week now, and I think it's going to be one that it's going to be a keeper. I'll probably do a review on it. Maybe in a couple of weeks when I've actually played a lot more with it. But so far, I really, really like it, and I think a lot of people that love puzzle games and they like stuff on the fly, they would really love this game. So Balls on the iPhone, which sounds really wrong on all levels, but I don't care. It's a good game, worth the download. So have fun. All right, so now down to the news of the week. This is not really a news item, but I've heard it for the last few weeks. And in this case, in the last few weeks, it was a YouTuber by the name of JonTron that was in hot water recently, and we've seen a lot of YouTube personalities kind of be in hot water recently. PewDiePie about a month ago, JonTron, Colin Moriarty. I'm sure the list it's not going to be the first YouTubers to be in hot water, and it won't be the last. I just wanted to put my 2 cents on this, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of articles, and a lot of them are kind of wondering what's happening with these type of, why are these YouTubers actually being banned all of a sudden for being outspoken and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into the details of what they actually said. Some of them were racist remarks. Some of them were more questionable. People were offended. I can see where they were offended, but it's not really out of this world. It's whatever. And I'm talking for Carly Moriarty in that regard. My 2 cents that I wanted to put this is, I mean, these guys like PewDiePie makes a lot of money. JonTron has built an audience over time. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of PewDiePie. Never have been. I never saw his appeal personally, but a lot of people follow him and they love him. JonTron, he has a lot of followers on YouTube, Twitter, and so on and so forth. The only time I've really seen JonTron, I'm actually subscribed to his channel, which I didn't know, but I never see him in my feed, so I never actually watch his videos, which is sad to say. I guess, I don't know why, but it just never shows up on my feed. The last time I saw JonTron that I can remember, it wasn't even his own video. It was a Cinemassacre video with James Rolfe and the AVGN Angry Video Game Nerd and Mike Matai when they did a tour of James's basement with all the videos and VHS and something. They were going through. It was actually pretty interesting. They were going through the different videos and so on and so forth, and it was. I think that's the last time I saw it. Colin Moriarty, he's on Funny or Die. No, not Funny or Die. Kind of Funny. I think that's what it is. Yes. With Greg Miller. Game Over Greggy. He's been known to be a little bit out there with his comments and so on and so forth. I follow him on Twitter, but that's about it. He never really said anything. I mean, I follow so many things, I don't really see him very often. But yeah, they said something that wasn't great. And now, these stories are coming to light in the mainstream. And I think we're in a day and age where YouTube stars are actually becoming mainstream stars. They're starting to appear on Ellen more and more. You start hearing about the stories on news outlets and so on and so forth. YouTube is not this thing where you kind of say something and nobody's going to know about it. In my case, that's pretty much the case because nobody follows me. But in the case of these guys, they have a big following, and they have to, everybody that's on YouTube, that does podcasting, that does anything, you kind of have to be aware of what you say and do. I mean, you can apply the same reasoning to real life, right? So when you're talking privately between friends, you may not necessarily say the same things as when you're addressing, people at work or people in a public place. In a public place. I mean, I'm not saying that what they said was right or wrong or whatever the case may be. Racist remarks in my books are always not a good thing. But you have to be aware of who your audience is, and the onus is on them. You're responsible for your own actions. You're responsible for your own words, and you have to own up to it. And you have to, either apologize or deal with the consequences of your actions. And I think it's not the first time we're seeing this, and it's not going to be the last time. There's a few others that were in hot water a while back. I don't remember their names, but it's getting more and more common. More and more people are looking at YouTube similarly at how they watch TV. I know for me, when I open up my Xbox One of my staples is YouTube. I watch YouTube. I just watch my subscriptions and I go through them. Anywhere from John Santagato to Cinemassacre and all that. So to me, it's regular TV, right? Because it's in my living room. I can play it. Especially recently, I don't have any cable. I have over-the-air TV, and a lot of the times, other than news, it's pretty boring, in my opinion. So I'd rather watch either Netflix or watch YouTube. So it's becoming a mainstream thing, and you kind of have to be careful of who your audience is and have to pay the consequences. So I don't know who's listening to this, and I'm probably talking to myself right now. I don't know how many people are going to listen to this, but no matter what you say, just be careful of what you say, because eventually it might bite you in the ass again. And in these cases, they were pretty upfront, and it was, in case of John Tron, he went on a podcast or a Twitch cast, and he went on pretty much a racist rant, I guess. And and it's costing him. He's been banned, and he's been banned from one of the games that he was part in. There's actually a patch being released where he has a voice acting credit in there, and they removed his voice. So I don't think it's going to be the last time. I don't think it's not the first time, and it's definitely not going to be the last time. So be careful, guys. And I think a lot of these guys are, I guess, looking for attention, and they're seeing that in the mainstream media, shock value goes a long way, right? And pretty much it started a long time ago. Howard Stern is known as the shock jock, right? For why? Because he's known to be having controversial type of conversations, and I think it's kind of hitting the YouTube guys now. They want to have more views, they want to have more hits, they want to have more clicks, and this is what happens. But what I'm happy about it is that there is consequences to their actions, and they're actually they have to face the music. They're not going to get a slap on the wrist. They're actually getting, in some cases, deserved criticism, and I'm glad to see that it's at least it's regulating itself in a way. So yeah, in this case it was JonTron. So yeah, if you're podcasting, be careful of what you say, because it might bite you in the ass again. All right, that's enough of that. Spoke about that way too long. Sorry about that. Next news item on the list: games with gold for the month of April. This month is a pretty good month for games with gold. I know that I'm an Xbox One guy. I don't have a PS4. I used to have a PS3, but I don't have one anymore. And I have an Xbox One. I have a 360. And games with gold is one of those things where it's amazing. 90% of my library is games with gold. Every month you have about 3 or 4 games that are available. 2 that are backwards compatible with that are playable on the Xbox One that were 360 games, so are backwards compatible, and 2 Xbox One games that are free. From April 16th to May 15th, Rise, Son of Rome is going to be free. It's $20 right now on the store, but it's going to be free for that period of time for download and for play, which is awesome because I've always wanted to try Rise and I never got a chance to. And you know what? The initial price tag was a little steep, so I didn't want to get into it too much. But I said, when it goes down, and you know what? It's gone free. So at this point, I'm actually convinced that most games will be free at one point in time. It's just a matter of waiting long enough. I've bought very little games in the last 2 years. I think my last physical game that I've bought was Deus Ex. And the last games that I bought are retro games, so like Mega Man collection and so on and so forth. So, that's Rise is one of them. Walking Dead Season 2 is also available. I've actually never played The Walking Dead. I've heard really good things about it, so I'm really psyched to play it. I'm definitely going to download it. For the Xbox 360, from the 1st of April, you're going to have Darksiders available, which is awesome. I played Darksiders 2, which was really, really good. When I had initially played, it was kind of, I kind of put it in a frame of, it's like God of War meets Zelda. So you're kind of doing the searching, you're going in, scrapping and stuff like that, and then you have a big monster at the end, which is like a bit of God of War. Really, really good game. I really enjoyed it. Maybe there were some people didn't like it. For me personally, I really, really loved it. So I'm really psyched to play Darksiders 1. And also Assassin's Creed Revelations. I've already played this. I bought it when it came out. Another $20 value game, but it's going to be free, and it's going to be available from, I believe, from the 16th to the 30th of April. So yeah, strong caliber games for Live with Gold. And I encourage anybody that has an Xbox to download these. Even if you're not going to play these, just download them. Since the beginning, and I've had these, I've been playing a lot of these games, and I've downloaded pretty much every one of them. Some of them I haven't really played much because they were really, really crap. But, you have free games. If I had that when I had my original NES, I'd be ecstatic. And I really hope that, Nintendo with the Switch is going to eventually go in that vein. They're going to release online retro games once a month that are going to be good till from the first to the last day of the month. And if you want to buy them, you can buy them for like $5 or whatever the case may be. So they're going that route as well. And I hope that, I really like this trend. I just don't know if this is going to continue with the subscription model that they're going to have, the Netflix of gaming. I forget what they're going to call it, but it's essentially Netflix of games. So you can pick a game, download it, play it, as long as you pay your subscription of $10 or $15 a month, which is awesome off the bat. I'm definitely going to get it when it first comes out, but I don't know how that's going to reflect on the games with gold. So, yeah, Rise, Son of Rome, Walking Dead Season 2, Darksiders, and Assassin's Creed Revelations, Xbox Live with Gold. Get your games now. Right, next. GameStop closing stores due to bad holiday season. So I've seen these stories pop up every so often during the week about GameStop closing their stores, about 100 or 150, depending on the story you read. For as far as I can remember, people have always complained about GameStop, about their policies, about how they don't give a lot of return on exchange games, how they don't, they're very shady in some of the business dealings they're doing. But to be quite honest, there's not a ton of specialty in quotes, gaming stores that only do sell games. Here in Canada, we have EB Games, which is GameStop essentially. I think they're owned by the same company. But it's nice the fact that I have one near my house and I could actually go in whenever I want, pick up a game whenever I want it. I don't have to go to a Best Buy. I don't have to go to a Walmart, or we used to have Target. What could be the reason for this? There could be a few. I've seen a few things flying out there, but I think there's a few. I think it's not one particular reason. I think it's a bunch of little reasons. It's like a perfect storm of time where people are not going into stores as much. A lot of people buy online, and with the pre-orders and so on and so forth, and getting them, with Amazon where you get them shipped in a day, you kind of don't have to go to the store anymore. So that's number one. Number two, a lot of gamers will download the digital version now. You don't really need to go anywhere. Which, 90% of my games, I don't have many physical games, especially for my Xbox One. I can count, I think, on one hand. I have NHL 17. I have Halo 5, Witcher 3, Deus Ex, Doom. I'm pretty sure they're the only 5 that I have. All the other games, I have about 120 in my archive on my Xbox. You can just download them. And a lot of them are games with gold, like I was talking before. And especially now with PS4 and Xbox One, where you can hook up an external hard drive, you can get a 2 terabyte pretty cheap, 2 terabyte hard drive pretty cheap at Costco. You don't ever have to download it. You can just keep your stuff on hard drive and you're good to go. So you don't actually have to go in the game, in the store anymore. So I don't know. I think it's just the industry moving away from that. And secondhand games, for me personally, I rarely exchange any games. A lot of the games that I've owned are the original games that I have owned forever. I've bought a lot of secondhand games in the discount bins and so on and so forth, but I never exchange my own games for something else, because I always found the return really crappy. No matter what games I give, either it's a Halo or it's a poker game on Xbox, the original Xbox, my return is almost the same on each one, and it's not really worth it. You would expect a little bit better return on a Halo 5 or a Halo 3 than a poker game on an original Xbox. So I think it's just the times are hitting GameStop. And when I was thinking about this and I was reading these stories, I kind of, in my head, at least, it's very similar to, my comparison is very similar to Blockbuster and Netflix and digital download. If anybody's old enough to remember what Blockbuster is, it was a physical brick and mortar store that used to rent out videos and DVDs and so on and so forth. And then Netflix came along and they started off with this male rental, and not male in the sense of male and female, male in terms of the post. You would go online, rent the videos. They would mail it to your house. You had 48 hours or whatever it is to watch it, and then you had to put it back into your mailbox, and they would come and get it, which is great. But then Netflix actually thought of outside the box, and they decided to do digital downloads, essentially, where you can go online for $7.99 and watch all the library of movies. Depending on the country you are and the licensing and so on and so forth, you can watch pretty much any movie on their repertoire. And that kind of killed Blockbuster. They never recovered. I think they tried to do an online thing, which failed miserably because it was too little, too late. But yeah, Netflix eventually won over, and they're still going strong. GameStop doesn't have that. I don't know. They're still a physical store, and their bread and butter is still exchange rate. They still sell. It's a refurbished game or secondhand game. They slash $5 off it, and it's like, hey, great, and it's like still pretty expensive. $80 a game, and then it's like, oh, it's $70 instead. Ooh. It often, if you wait a little bit longer, it's cheaper online. You can get it for $40, or in some cases, like the games with Gold, you can get them either free, or when they're not free, they're about $20. So I think it's one of those things. It's a perfect storm it's a perfect storm of things that are happening, and I do hope that GameStop and the EB Games of this world actually make it, because I think there is a place for them, but they have to think of the future. And I think if they stick with what they have right now, I don't think it's going to work for very long, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. I guess it's good for buying a physical game console, but if you do that, often the Best Buys of this world and the Walmarts of this world usually have a better pricing, and they throw in games. So for me personally, I don't know. Time will tell, and I wish the best of luck to GameStop, but I don't think it's ever going to. Unless they actually do something about it, I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get worse, and they're going to be closing more and more stores. And a lot of these GameStops are in areas where they don't have a lot of these stores. They don't have a Best Buy at the corner, or they don't have a Target that's accessible. What kind of sucks for the fans, like usual, for gaming fans and players. But it is what it is, and yeah, I wish them luck on that. All right. Next on the list, there's actually a game that's coming out in the next week, which I'm really psyched about, and I would really love to play. It's called Old Time Hockey, and you can actually go on their website. It's going to be released for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. It's rated, I don't even know, but it is violent. It's kind of a cross between the trailer for the you can go on YouTube and watch the trailer. The trailer is actually it says that it's a cross between Slapshot meets NHL 94, which is really awesome. It looks a little bit slow. Maybe it's because I'm used to playing NHL Hits, which is like an arcade type game. And this is what it is. It is an arcade type game getting released. And I think I am going to pick it up. One of the things, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I did say it in my articles. One thing that's really missing in the gaming, in the home consoles, especially in sports, you have the platformers, the 8-bits, and you have the other type of games that are, open world or, like Dead Pixels on Xbox 360 and Steam, where, it's a very short game and, it's retro style and so on and so forth. The one thing that has been lost, and personally, in gaming is the sports games have become too serious. You can look, and one of the reasons is probably EA has a monopoly on a lot of these sports games. But if I'm looking at, in terms of, FIFA, NHL, 17 or whatever, Madden, a lot of these games are built on realism, how the real sport works, and it's to reflect like watching a real game and managing like the real general manager and coaching a real game, which is fine. There's a fan base for that. Case in point, Madden is one of the best-selling games every year. However, one of the things that I find is missing, and one of the last games I've played that actually was like this was NHL 2002, where it's an arcade type game where you can just sit with your brother, your sister, your cousins, your friends, and just play a good a 5, 10, 15 minute game that's arcade style. The rules are very basic. There's no like ultra season mode or maybe a dumbed down version of that, but a game that's arcade style. Football, the last one I kind of played that was like that was an NFL Fever, which was actually pretty fun. It was more arcade. Even for Madden, I'm not a big fan of Madden just because I love football. Don't get me wrong. My favorite team is the Dolphins. Don't judge. But I'm not, I like to play a game where it's pretty simple. Techno Bowl, very simple on NES. NHL 94 on Genesis or on Super Nintendo or even on PC. Very simple games, but they're so fun, and it's arcade style. It's just, you can picture somebody putting a quarter in it and playing for 5-10 minutes, and then you're good to go. So, having said that, I'm really looking forward to Old Time Hockey. I really, really hope it's as fun as it looks like. The graphics look a little bit, okay, I guess. But once I play it, I'm sure I'm gonna be fine with it. So yeah, Old Time Hockey getting released on PS4 and PC and Xbox One. One game that I saw that was being released this week, which is insane, is Sims 4, which to this day I don't understand how anybody can play that. I played SimCity. I love the SimCity games, especially SimCity 2000, 3000, I forget the game. The second one in the series was really, really fun. The Sims, I'm just not. I don't know. I just don't see what the appeal is. I guess it's for the comedy aspect of it, but you know, it is what it is. And I'm sure people are gonna buy it. It's not SimCity 4. It's an expansion pack, so it's like an addition. But yeah, the bowling night stuff. So it's kind of an addition to it. Average score is 5.4 on the net. GameSpot gave it 6. So yeah, Sims 4 is also available. I think it's one of the few big names that's being released. There's Dark Souls 3, I believe, having something released. Yeah, there's nothing really that piques my interest much. Then again, I don't have a ton of time to actually play. So, yeah, so actually, Fallout Shelter is going to be available for PC this week. I wasn't a big fan of the app myself. I wasn't one that was like, "Woo, this is amazing." I played it for about 2 weeks, got bored, and I deleted the app. Never played it again. But it's going to be available on PC. Not sure why you would want to play on PC, but hey, there's a lot of big fans on Fallout Shelter, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of those games that's going to be streamed. And a lot of people did like the game. I don't think it was my cup of tea, personally. So that's it for the games of the week. So the next, it's not a news story. It's one of the topic that I want to talk about is, are open world games still good? And let me elaborate on that. A lot of the games that's being released recently, Zelda, GTA, Skyrim, Witcher 3, Fallout, you can name a bunch of them. The end thing is either first-person shooters or open world. Open world where you can do a bunch of stuff. For those who don't know, it's a kind of a game where you may have a main mission, but there's a lot of different things you can do on the side to complement the game. So there's side quests, and very often the main quest is not uber long. It could be, but it's usually not uber long. It's the fact that there's so many side quests. Fallout 4 is the best example, or Fallout series, where there's so many side quests that you get lost and you can have hundreds and hundreds of hours getting spent in this open world. And I was wondering, I play these games. I'm transparent about that. I do play, Fallout, GTA. I love those games. But I'm wondering if it's a little too much. It's getting a little too much. The thing is I look at a lot of these open world games now, and I have to think, do I have the time to actually play them? Because it's not a game that you can usually pick up for 5-10 minutes and then say, hey, I've done 13 missions and I'm good. It's very often you spend like 2 hours and you've actually done nothing. And until you actually play these games, you won't understand how it is, but I'll try to explain it the best as I can. So in the Fallout series, or Fallout 4, when I first played it, you go around and you try and explore an area. You figure, okay, it's not going to take that long, right? Well, you start exploring an area and start picking stuff up. You're starting to look at them. You're trying to analyze them. You're trying to build maybe a few things with what you picked up. And then you realize, I've been playing this for 4 hours and I have nothing to show for it. And I see the appeal of it. And there's some games that are really good that, are rewarding when you finish those games. Skyrim is one of them, which is really, really cool. I just don't know if, these worlds are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the time consumption is getting bigger and bigger. And I'm not sure they're still popular. They're still selling millions of copies. GTA is one of the best-selling games of all time, and it's still selling a lot of copies per month. I just don't know if it's something that could be sustainable. I don't have 500 hours to play on a particular game. I like to vary my games. Today I might want to play hockey. Tomorrow I may want to play, Mega Man or a platformer, or maybe Blaster Master Zero, or whatever the case may be. It's a time investment, and especially in today's day and age where time is very precious, and we don't have a ton of time. I don't know how much time people have to invest in these games. I see the appeal of them. A lot of them are story driven. It's very compelling, and you can get lost in those worlds, and I completely understand. I just don't know how sustainable it can be, because I just don't understand. I just don't have the time. I just would want to spend more time on it, and I just don't have the time. And that's probably why I usually resort to other, traditional platformer games that could take 5-10 minutes to play. Or NHL 17, where, yes, in theory, it's a very long series where you play 82 games, and you can manage, and you do that, but I can pick it up for 15-20 minutes, play a game, and I'm done. I don't have to think about it, and then the next time I play another game. Open worlds will probably be very popular in the VR spectrum, because it would be appealing to play an open world game, and Fallout is going to VR, so that's one example. I just don't know if people, I've heard friends and I've read articles where people is like, I spend like 500, 600 hours on this game, and I spend 1,000 hours on this game. And that's a lot of hours. And, a lot of us don't do this for a living. So, for me, I do this, outside of my work hours, at night and on the weekends. And, I have a life to live. And, I don't have kids, but it would be even worse if I had kids. I would have even less time. So I'm not sure if it's something that's going to continue for a very long time. It has been around for a while, and people are buying them. I just don't know how long it will go. The VR spectrum will probably give it a little bit more life, but yeah, I just don't know if that's going to be sustainable for a long time. Let me know what you think in the comments and on Twitter and on Facebook. Let me know what you think about it. I'm really interested to know what you guys think about the open world games, and if you're interested, and if you like them, and if you do or if you don't, why, right? So open world games. Yeah. Next on the list, my review this week for a roundtable is an old school game called Pepper 2 on the ColecoVision. It's one of the first games I ever played on my original ColecoVision. I used to play with my brother. It's a very simple game. It's similar in a way to Pac-Man, but instead of actually collecting pearls or dots or whatever the case may be, you're actually zipping up areas of a board, and then once you complete that board, you have 4 areas that you have to actually zip up. And then within those areas, you have smaller areas that you have to zip up. And then once you get those 4 main areas done, that's a level. And then you go to the next level. And it gets a little bit harder. Very addictive game. Released on a ColecoVision. It's called Pepper 2. There is no Pepper 1. I don't know why they called it Pepper 2. Nobody can ever explain it. I don't think there's any website that actually explains it. But it's one of those games where it's very addictive. It's easy to play. Again, unlike my last topic about open world, this one's easy to pick up, play for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then you're good. You can go and do something else or play another game. I really like it. I have my original game on ColecoVision. You can also download it on emulators. There's a bunch of them that are available. I know it could be illegal. But in theory, if you own the original game and you download the emulator, in theory, the ROM, in theory, that is not wrong. It's not a copyright infringement because you have the original game. That's why nobody, or almost nobody, gets caught doing that. But I still have my original copy, so I'm good. But yeah, so look out for my Pepper 2 review on a roundtable that should be getting released tonight, actually. maybe early tomorrow. But yeah, let me know what you think about Pepper 2. Have you ever played it? What's your favorite game on ColecoVision? I have probably a top 2 or 3. Pepper 2 is up there, along with River Raid. No, River Raid is actually Atari. It's not ColecoVision. I used to like Venture on ColecoVision. That's another one. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. Standard. Zaxxon. Yeah, I have a ton of games that I love to play on there. And they still hold up to this day. Yeah, there's 2 to 4 bits, but my God, they're so good. They still hold up pretty well, and I think it's in its simplicity that it's really really awesome. A lot of these games weren't very complicated because they didn't have a lot to work with, and because of that, they had to focus on gameplay, and a lot of the gameplay is really fun, and it's very simple, but it's very addictive. Yeah, so Pepper 2 on ColecoVision. Well, that's it for today. For today's show, if you want to reach out to me, you can follow me on Twitch at Corporate Gamer 9. You can like my page on Facebook under Corporate Gamer. You can follow me on Twitter at Corporate Gamer 9. You can follow me on YouTube or subscribe to my channel at Corporate Gamer. It's pretty easy to find. And you can also read my reviews on aroundtable.ca. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud or on my YouTube channel, you can also subscribe to my podcast on iTunes and Google Play. So that's it, guys. Have a good week. And